Big Brother on the small screen. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
The award-winning 1984 Apple commercial was only aired twice. And it was for a little product called the Macintosh. Ever heard of it? You're hearing it right now because that's what we're using to make this happen.
Believe it or not, MacBooks still exist and are used widely.
We are archaeologists.
That's right.
And I felt like lately a lot of people reference 1984 and Big Brother.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And I don't know if any of them actually have read it because they're just kind of saying it as a catch-all. But
I find it hard to believe that some high school teacher didn't make most of us read it.
I did.
I read it a lot. I read it for fun. That's how fun I was in high school.
I read it and then I talked about it in high school to seem interesting.
Yeah, well, that's good. Did it work?
No, not at all. I got beat up mostly. They didn't want to hear about my Orwellian rants.
No.
With 1984 in my back pocket, a beat up copy of 1984 in my back pocket.
There's a photo of you, I think, with you with like an AC/DC shirt on. Is that you?
No.
I
wasn't wearing an AC/DC shirt.
Okay, there's a photo of you.
Are you thinking about the Night Stalker documentary? Okay.
Who am I thinking? At a certain point, I've seen a photo of you at like 14 or 15.
Yeah, there's one.
You looked like you didn't get beat up regularly.
No, it wasn't regularly. It was, just on my birthday and Christmas.
Good.
So this was in 1984, and 1984 was the backdrop of this in order to usher in the Macintosh computer. And you would think, even looking back at this, and I've never seen it, and I've seen it referenced in retro commercials or kind of going, talking about the 80s. And I was like, was this something that was poorly received or received really well? It was one of those things where you don't know. And it was received really well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really good, if the year is 1984 and there's this incredibly famous dystopic sci-fi novel called 1984 and you're a burgeoning computer company, why wouldn't you?
And Steve Jobs was pretty...
It's a visionary.
He's a visionary. He wasn't shy about that. And he was right.
Yeah. Worked. His ideas worked.
It did work. And, the commercial, which you can find online and you heard it before, but it's, a lot of same old people droning. And then a heroine comes in and she just smashes the system.
Whoa. Pretty intense. But
and shakes things up.
So she smashes the computer. I've never seen this.
There's a big screen and somebody's, it's kind of like, reminds me of the movie. You ever seen the movie Brazil?
Yeah.
I don't know why it reminds me of that. It has that kind of strange future.
Yeah. Like strange lighting and like you can't quite, I remember watching Brazil and it like took a lot out of me watching it.
And it was directed by someone you may have heard of, Adam Sandler.
Wait, for real?
No.
I would have believed that. I would have been like, oh my God, okay. What does that mean?
It was directed by Ridley Scott.
Okay. Ridley Scott is pretty, he had just directed like Alien at that point, right? And
Alien.
it was coming like very at that point.
In between Alien and Aliens, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was quality.
Yeah.
But you don't know how people are going to receive something when you put a lot into a commercial. And It was a Super Bowl commercial.
Of course.
So there's always a lot riding on a Super Bowl commercial, but it went over really, really well.
God, I also didn't realize Super Bowl commercials went. I thought the rise of the Super Bowl commercial was like late 90s, 2000s. I didn't realize that there was still like such a, I mean, it makes sense to me, but such a huge market for the Super Bowl placement then.
And not until Justin Timberlake is born is there allowed to be a performance.
Yeah, why? Yeah, I guess, God. All right, I'm learning a lot.
It actually did air once in Twin Falls, Idaho on December 31st, 1983, right before 1984.
Just in Twin Falls, Idaho?
Just in Twin Falls, Idaho, in order for it to qualify for a Clio Award.
Oh.
Which it did win.
What? Why?
It was they won a lot of awards. It was very, very successful. Wow. And then it ran most notably on CBS on January 22nd, 1984 during Super Bowl 18.
Okay.
The big one. I don't know. What if it's big or small?
One football team versus another football team.
In the commercial states, on January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh, and you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Whoa.
And people are watching it like, I haven't read this book. I don't even know that it's a book. So what's happening in 1984? We're in it.
What about the Bills?
Yeah. What's
hey,
what's happening here? Is that Beverly Hills Cop or what's going on?
Why are we smashing a perfectly good screen? Huh. Interesting message. Different than like what's being portrayed.
Yeah. Very. I mean, it's one of those things. Maybe they're just like, hey, a lot of people read George Orwell in 1984. I mean, they could have done To Kill a Mockingbird. That would have been interesting.
That would have been very interesting. They could have done Long Day's Journey to Night or Romeo and Juliet.
There's just so many, whatever else you read in school.
I know. It's like, you want
Death of a Salesman.
Exactly. The Scarlet Letter. That's great. Where are those commercials, Apple?
Playboy, February 1979. I had it. But it was only shown twice officially. Once on the Super Bowl and then once previous in order for it to win a Clio award. Maybe that's just, they got it in right under the wire because you don't want to air it too soon before because then maybe word gets out. And people in Twin Falls were like, what is going on
Yeah, their
here?
minds were blown. They were sitting there lazy.
Why am I
drinking a Blatz and being like, why am I being told like anti-government rhetoric? Like, just sitting in their chairs.
So there's a few reasons. So according to mc-history.net, the estate of George Orwell and the television rights holder to the novel 1984 considered the commercial to be a flagrant copyright infringement and sent a cease and desist letter to Apple and Chiat Day, which is the producers of it and the advertising agency.
I didn't realize that a year could be they're not like, here's what happens in the book 1984. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the fact that they're kind of indicating, like, there's a lot of indication that it's based on that. And I guess it is. It kind of boils it down in a way. Kind of.
If they were taking soma pills and trying to get their eyes not ripped out by torture. Double speak. Yeah. Not getting brainwashed. I mean, there's some more specifics that I think I would believe that better, but that's just me.
So that was in April 1984. According to the Chicago Tribune, the ad was supposed to continue running, but did not because the company's board thought it was irresponsible to air a commercial for which no product yet existed. It wasn't even available.
That's so sexy.
But that was the way Apple kind of ran,
yeah,
right?
I love that. You're like, we don't even have a product. How about that?
And you're going to give us just...
Give me those
get your wallet out.
Yeah.
You know you want this.
You're begging.
And it turned out to really, it was the revolution that it promised. I'm sure maybe back then they were like, watch personal computers change everyone's life for the better. They didn't make it so people could make podcasts.
Yeah, no.
That was probably not the initial goal.
They didn't make it so I could have a basket that I could shop with and share my personal information with literally every giant company and buy yoga pants with. That wasn't their vision, I don't think. I also think I might be conflating 1984 with Brave New World when I made some references earlier in this podcast.
So can we be more obnoxious? Yeah, apparently we can.